recording?
I am, I have to announce it as soon as the meeting is called to order.
Have you been recording?
Just started it,
Oh, you have recorded?
I just started it. For the meeting. I'm sitting here signing bills, I just pushed the button so I could sign the bills.
Nothing's happening.
No.
All right, so it's recording, so Allison, if you could just hit the message, to clear it.
There's no message.
Say okay or got it or anything?
It says, okay, leaving meeting at the top, that's not.
Nope, so
It's not yet, it's not there.
It says this meeting is being recorded. Click OK.
yep, that's what we want.
Oh, at the top, oh.
Usually it's in the middle.
It's usually at the bottom.
So
There we go.
Erin, this is the network that you're gonna connect to, and you can tap the button one more time, it'll give you the password to connect.
No, what is that?
It's a hotspot.
Oh, I've never seen one.
So are we
Why is
ready?
there indeed that?
You're all set, we're recording.
May I ask, does that just give you better reception?
Yeah, I guess it's not.
We don't have the wireless access point is broken in this end of the building.
Oh, because
So
I've never seen it.
the signal is very weak. So we always use a hotspot to get on anyway, just because this end of the building can be.
So
Well,
here are the bills now.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. We have a full house. My goodness, this is impressive.
Donna, I'd like to let everyone know that I'm recording.
Thank you very much, Allison. Let the meeting begin. We're in the process right now of signing of the bills. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from March. Does anyone have anything from those minutes?
I do, and you're gonna appreciate this. On page 2, Steph, you call him Ms.
Right.
On the last
I'm
page.
very sorry about that.
Confident in my masculinity. It's quite all right.
He's confident in himself. He doesn't get in line.
Where exactly? I'm sorry.
On the I'm sorry, the last page right there. at the top.
Ah,
Yeah, it was so funny.
There's
Like, wait.
Mr. and Ms.
Yeah.
Well, unbeknownst to you, I talked to Justin when I met with him that I actually had an English teacher called Miss Salzback. And I asked if he might be related, so when I read it and said, wait, how did she get here?
That is funny.
Yes, she was a phenomenal teacher.
Mhm.
Anything else? I actually have a couple things on the page under library staff program services updates. There's just the word "to" missing, where it says the program will be added to the library's website. The public.
And which
access.
bullet, Donna?
Under bullet number 5,
Okay.
under G. And then there's a similar thing on the last page, under number 6, 1, 2, 3, 4 down, where it says, we'll contact Ms. Bresnahan to see if it can be added to the town's content.
Yes, I had that highlighted also, yeah.
So those were the only things besides Ms. Rosebach that I found too. Anybody else have anything?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes with the added corrections. I second that.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, we can move it. Friends of the flag, Danny,
Thank you, Donna.
thank you.
Just a couple of updates on things that have been going on with us. Currently our annual campaigns, which is through the end of April, and it goes obviously to the end of June, is $19,905.64.
Wow.
So we're really super excited about that. You need to repeat it again. And then one thing that we are going to do, after voting, at the town meeting, after voting, is we are going to send a reminder postcard to people who've given in the last 3 years, but haven't given yet this year, and see if we can capture some of those people. The other thing I wanted to let you know is that the Institute for Savings local bank branch here in Middleton gave us $750 to be spent towards the teen movie night. Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, that's incredible.
They, the way the Institute for Savings works is local branches are given a amount of funds every quarter and they can choose how they want to allocate it into the community. And we had a conversation about teen night, the movie night, and a lot of the women who work there have teenage children, and they often are frustrated that their kids are at home playing video games or on their phones, and they like the idea of the movie night and people getting together in the community and in a safe place. So that's why they did that. So that should carry us probably for 9 months for paying for the food and supplies that are needed for that. So we were super excited about that. And Loretta and I went and had our picture taken with a big check. And then I also wanted to mention, I don't know if you noticed when you came in, the beautiful custom logo rug at the parking lot entrance, but the Friends purchased that. And we also purchased the staff refrigerator, the one that we had died. It was over 10 years old, so. And we also, in both those instances, we used building funds that we still have from the money that we raised from the building fund. And we will be at the town meeting tomorrow night offering water and snacks to town people. And I just wanted to remind everyone that on Friday, May 17th, which is this coming Friday, we are going to have a pop-up book sale at the library from 10:30 in the morning until 12:30. Everything is $1. And I'm all set.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you for that rug, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Next is the trustees report, but if you don't mind, I'd like to skip ahead and do the president's report first because it's so much easier and we have so much on the trustees, so. Treasurer's report. I'm gonna change my hat. Unfortunately, we had a losing month. We had 2 really good months in a row, but Fidelity decided that it was gonna not be so supportive of us, and we lost $3,643.44. We're still ahead of the game though. We have a grand total in our bank account of $135,084.92. And so we're still doing well. I mean, the stock market, it just does, it goes up and down. That's what happens. The trustees have 2 accounts basically that need to have somebody in charge of, somebody that signs for. Normally in both the cases, it's usually a chair and a treasurer. As you know, I've been filling in for both roles at this point. So only my name is on these accounts and I need to have whoever gets elected, whoever becomes chair, whoever becomes treasurer, to do the paperwork, and I will gladly help and work with you. In fact, I do believe I do have to take you to the bank, which is the North Bank, what's it called, North Shore Bank. Thanks. So when I already talked to Loretta about this, for the bank account, we need a letter from her saying that I'm leaving and that whoever the new people are that are coming in, in other words, whoever the chair is, whoever the treasurer is. So this is gonna have to wait until election happens and then the June meeting. So, you know, I'm here, I'm not leaving town, so. And unbeknownst to everyone, I know that we really struggled paperwork wise with Fidelity, and that doesn't happen anymore. It's really a simple process, and they're wonderful. They're right over by the mall, and just walk in, there's 2 sets, I've got the old paperwork and I've got the new paperwork that needs to be filled in. You walk in the door, you don't wanna sign it because it needs to be notarized, and they notarize everything right there. But it took all of 10 or 15 minutes. But the people have to go together with the filled in paperwork. This is the folder that has basically the different reports and stuff that I've generated. I've done everything on an Excel spreadsheet, so I'm hoping that whoever takes over as a treasurer in this group has Excel or knows how to use it. And I have a handy dandy little thumb drive that I'll be able to give you and you can plug into the computer, and I have everything in formulas, so you just need to basically take out the report you get from the bank, the report you get from Fidelity, shift a few numbers over, and everything does it itself. All the things come up the way they're supposed to. So, and again, I will be happy to sit down and work with anybody that becomes treasurer to teach them how to do this if they don't know how, or to help them at any time, basically. So,
Did you say, John, that it would be the chair and the treasurer that goes on the account, two people?
right, and the treasurer's the one who controls it basically, but the chair also has signature powers, and you really want to have two people.
Yes.
Just in case whatever happens, and it's just the right way to do it, basically.
Thank you.
So that's it for the treasurer's report.
Mhm.
If anybody have any questions? All right. Let's move on. We'll go to the trustees report. It's got a lot of different policies and stuff to look at. The first one is, our bylaws, policy number 4. Does anybody have any thoughts, feelings? Yes, go ahead.
Donna, I do. I'd like to suggest that we do have a few edits to these. I think there are a couple small things, nothing major. But that according to these bylaws, we have to send them out 30 days before a meeting, and then they have to be talked about at the meeting, and then 30 days later, they have to be voted on. That's a process that's outlined in the bylaws.
Yeah, that's kind of odd. I thought that was kind of odd.
No, my other committee's the same way.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it must be a thing with Robert's rules or something. And anyway, so since obviously
Didn't happen.
didn't happen, we didn't edit them 30 days ahead. I would like to suggest if we want to talk about it now and just look at what edits we might want, then I can pull them all together and send them to Loretta, and she can send them out 30 days in advance.
Sounds good to me. So what would you?
Sure, so for example, right in that first sentence, it says this organization. And I just question, I'm not sure it should be changed, but I suggested maybe this elected board. Because are we really an organization?
Legally, I don't know if we have the knowledge to make that.
No, it's not,
They can jump in on that after the town administrator.
It's really
Doesn't
at your
matter.
discretion.
yeah, it's not a legal.
It doesn't matter. Okay, either way.
Which page are you looking at?
Like the first sentence where it says this organization, I kind of felt like we're not an organization, we're an elected board. So I was just, like I said, just updating the language. And then, throughout Loretta, you have kind of removed the in front of Flint Public Library. So I thought that kind of should be updated throughout, right?
What do you mean, like a capital T instead of?
No, just
Take
no
out
word.
the-
Oh,
So it'll just
get rid
read
of that.
So
the
it
or-
will stay in, so the way the policies, other policies are written, and this is just for consideration. The policies going forward, as you can see in like policy 14 and 21, which we're looking at, it's Flint Public Library Board of Trustees.
Hmm.
Pretty much every policy. says
So that I
And
think
this-
that that
so
should be
it's-
updated.
So we can, that's, is just one that I would take a look at as a board.
So
And
have,
so either we change it here or we change it in all the rest of the policies, but
I
we
think
should be consistent.
So it should read, instead of the Board of Trustees of the Flint Public Library, it should be called Flint Public Library Board of Trustees.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying, what we're talking about.
So, Flint Public Library.
Board of Trustees. without-
well, in this case, it will be. Would the go in front of the parentheses or after the parentheses? I mean, the quotations.
I don't think it has to be in either place.
What was it? Board of-
This organization shall be called Flint Public Library Board of Trustees.
Except,
The policies say the Flint Public Library Board of Trustees, Board of Trustees.
it doesn't say, it says Flint Public Library, but it says the Flint Public Library Board of Trustees.
Good.
I know,
The board of
we're
trustees.
really consistent.
All right, so we're leaving in with
Should it go before the quotes or after the quotes?
Within the quotes, the.
Within,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
the Flint Public Library Board of Trustees. Okay. I mean, you're still gonna all look at this and stuff anyway.
Right, so this is the meeting where it's all gone over, recommended edits and revisions. Are presented at this meeting, and then 30 days it's voted on, and a second vote.
Okay,
Right.
okay. Anything else anyone have?
I didn't know, later on in the policy, it says what we call the transition meeting.
What section?
Look at Article 5, 1B.
First meeting?
Shall be the annual reorganizational meeting. And we generally call it transition, but in the front, under 1A, Article 3, 1A, you say Flint Public Library at the annual meeting. Should we change it all to annual meeting, or change it all to annual transition meeting, or annual reorganization meeting? Yeah, just to be consistent.
This one says annual meeting, and the other one says annual reorganization meeting. And then.
As I said, these are just simply consistency grammatical things, they're not.
Okay, so the only place that we went to annual meetings.
So-
Under 5D, or is there another place?
Well, under Article 3, 1A,
Right.
it says it twice.
Annual meeting, right. so-
And then on the next line, it says they shall hold office until the next annual meeting.
Right,
And then the annual meeting shall be the first monthly meeting after town election. So there's 3 times it says it.
right.
And then,
But the only place where you wanted it, you would like to have it edited is under Article 5.
so do we want to remove reorganizational or
Sure.
add it to all the others?
No, it's the least amount of words.
I
better.
agree with you. Okay, so just remove it under Article 5, 1B.
Yes,
And then all throughout, Loretta, under 2, A, B, C, D, I'm gonna just get rid of all the in front of Flint Public Library. And in Article 2, duties of the chair, A. It says to serve as presiding member. Do you like,
I'm sorry,
or 1A,
1A,
it's on the back, it's on the
Next.
second page. Read it.
it says to serve as presiding member. Do you want to leave the word serve, or is facilitate a more a clearer definition of what the chair does? Serve seemed like we all serve. Again, just a vocabulary word.
You guys can consider it, whatever you want to
so
do.
instead of serve, I'm considering facility.
Yeah.
To facilitate as presiding, so.
Yeah, that was what I thought, because I think facilitate is what the VLC uses.
Yeah, that's where you got it from.
Yeah. But you guys will have to decide if that makes sense to you.
What is the word serve? It's in the-
Okay, anything else?
No, that was it for me.
All right, so I guess we don't need to do a motion or anything like that. We just need to look at this, make a decision on it for 30 days, come back,
So Loretta, you have
look at it
to,
again.
make these corrections and send it out.
So did anyone else have any changes or input for the bylaws? So it's just what Allison is putting forth and recommending?
Sure. No,
It's just little basic stuff.
I didn't see any other stuff. I didn't see any other minute or anything like that. All looked pretty good to me.
Yeah, it did. That's good. Template.
Okay,
So you'll send this out? And hopefully it'll
Yes,
be
so
30
if you-
days.
Yes, so, well, exactly, so, but it will only be, if we have a majority quorum, it will only be 1 vote according to the bylaws.
Right.
If we don't have the quorum, we would need the 2 votes.
At the next meeting, we're talking about.
So,
so you all have four.
yeah.
All right, thank you. Let's move on. Policy number 21, unattended children. I just wanted to ask, when you changed the ages and stuff like that, was that something that it's kind of? Where did that come from?
Master General Law.
That's what I think.
Yes.
Okay. Because it did seem kind of young. To have 8 and 9-year-olds running around on their own, so that's why I wasn't surprised. Anybody have any comments, thoughts?
Did you, look at the new version that we changed the title to child safety policy?
I've got it all right here, and it
Oh,
looked
okay,
fantastic.
okay,
It looked great to me, and I read it 3 times to make sure I understood it.
right?
I thought it looked great.
I did
and-
Loretta and I really cleared up a bunch of stuff.
And I like the fact that the ages were changed, because I do think it's good to have, that covered, and I also thought it was very good that people realize that the library staff is going to be providing their children, that,
Yeah.
which is kind of important, so. Anybody, any other thoughts? No, we have to have, basically, we have to have. Yes, you can decide on it, vote on it right now. Is there anybody that has anything else?
No, I'd like to make a motion that we accept policy 21 as edited here and presented to us.
All those, oh,
I second.
thank you. We just had a motion to accept policy 21 with the amendments and stuff, and it's been seconded. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Anyone opposed? Okay, moving on. All right, 14, collective development policy.
This is a big one.
Long.
Well, happily Loretta and I cut it from 6.5 pages down to 3 pages. So, and one of those pages is that nice form.
Can you make the form on one page, or is it just the way it's printed out?
It just, that's just the way
it's printed out,
Yeah.
but normally the red it's on one page?
No, it's on one, so
Oh, that form is on one, okay.
It is online, but it's printed out.
if you print it out, you can sign
Right,
it.
so the first page is what the patron would fill in. The second page is for staff use and noting the
Oh,
action.
That's why I'm not separate, I get it, thank you. Thank you.
So I read it all, it looked wonderful. The only thing is there is a word in there that needs to be removed.
Okay,
And 1, 2, 3, it's on the 4th page, it's under magazines and newspapers, it's under number 1. 4th page, it says popular general informational. When you get down to almost the end of the sentence, it reads in areas where book resources are may be insufficient, you can put the word far out.
Are you looking at the clean copies?
I'm looking at the edited copy.
Oh, sorry, the clean copy that is removed.
Yeah, that's
So
correct.
it was just
Oh,
failed to be outlined in the edit.
perfect. I never look at the clean copy, I always look at the.
It's just so hard because we're trying to get the old copy, the new copy, the edited copy, and she's got 4 screens going.
The only other question I had about it is when you, the page that has a request for reconsideration, you're gonna read that I am a resident in green. I would love to see it left.
Oh, I think it'll all be black.
It's all black.
Really? I would love to see it in green. So that people realize that they don't spend the whole time filling this thing out and then all of a sudden realize that they're not a resident.
Well, it's bolded, right?
It's not bold. I could make it bold though. You think it's not currently bold.
That's just my thought, that I would like to see it somehow highlighted in some fashion so that they don't waste their time.
Yes, mine's bolded.
That's not on the original.
Does anyone have anything else? Any feelings? Okay, great.
So in general principles, section 1, I noticed that we took out anything that says that trustees support the American Library Association or endorsed by the.
Let's put in the packet ahead. We moved it up.
Oh, in the first.
It doesn't list the library, but it doesn't say the board of trustees endorses or uses.
Was it the?
It's down here.
Yep, it is down there.
Down here.
Like a one second.
It's right here.
So I feel like because you're elected officials, and because of all the controversy, I feel like it's important. In the Reading Library, they use it in their collection.
Well, there you go. My
And the-
Bible, what can I tell you?
Yep, the MBLC says that trustees endorse the American.
All right,
So
good
I
catch.
think it's very important to keep that in there because we are elected officials and it is our job.
so
to
you mean,
protect-
right, Flint Public Library and the Flint Public Library Board of Trustees use, so we get rid of that S.
Flint Public Library and its Board of Trustees. Is that what you said?
Endorse, support. I just want to make it clear that the trustees,
You're on general principles, correct? Number one?
yes, number one.
I'm confused. It says uses on my copy because it
It
says,
says uses on the-
yeah, it doesn't, not supports, because it uses those two things as the basis for selection, and Flint Board of Public Libraries doesn't make the selections. Oh, that's true.
But somewhere in there, we need to write
So,
in that
yeah.
the Board of Trustees would endorse it. So somehow you've got to get that line in there.
I don't know that it's not, Loretta, can you do a search?
For,
What are we searching for?
So you can't add the Board of Trustees right there because it's talking about how to select materials and the trustees don't select, but the word support, that we support these.
so we can say as supported, comma,
general-
and a sentence,
Uh,
comma, as supported by.
Could
The Board of
put that again,
Trustees.
Loretta? Sorry.
So the first sentence, we can just put a comma at the, in selection of library materials, comma, as supported by the Board of Trustees.
Uses both, right here, Flint Public Library, comma, and supported, or as supported by the
Okay,
Board of Trustees,
good,
comma.
good,
Uses both the American. Library
Excellent.
Bill of Rights.
excellent,
Put
okay,
it in that way,
yep.
Are you- right,
Yep.
are you okay with that,
Mhm.
Mary? Is that correct, Loretta, what you were saying? I'm hoping
We can put it there, that's fine.
is that
Flint
all
Public
right?
Library is,
And are they,
so, but I don't, so it's not really saying, I don't think what Erin wants it to say, if we put it there, it's saying that the Flint Public Library is supported by the trustees. But Erin, your goal is to have it say that the Board of Trustees.
We may need to look
Support.
elsewhere in this document and add that.
Or you can
Bill of
add it at
Rights,
the end
yeah.
of the sentence, and two, Flint Public Library uses both the blah, 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 blah. Statement is the basis for the selection of library's materials. Which the Board of Trustees endorses or supported.
from the MBLC, it says, trustees play an essential role in safeguarding the intellectual liberty of the public, and they must recognize, understand, and support freedom of access.
Right, no, I agree with you. It ought to be in here. It's just how to put it in.
Right.
I think it could go in right after that, the word
Okay.
materials.
So if you leave that first sentence the same is what you're saying?
Right.
And then, and the freedom to read statement as the basis for
The section
and then
of
another
library.
sentence, library materials. New sentence, right?
These actions are endorsed by the.
There you
Board of
go.
Trustees.
And I think too, under general principles, the Flint Public Library and the first general principles,
That's where I am.
Still under number one, yes.
no, just the first, like, right there, the Flint Public Library and the Board of Trustees.
But it says
But
uses.
Uses, you don't.
I think support's stronger.
No,
But
no,
what she said, and she's right, if it reads that way, Flint Public Library, comma, supported by the Board of Trustees, means we're supporting the Flint Public Library, we're not supporting the fact that, or endorsing the fact that these things are used.
and we
What was
can't
your word,
change
Erin, not uses, what was your word?
supported.
Endorse, support.
Supported?
We can't because.
So that actually works. So if it reads Flint Public Library and the Board of Trustees, support both the American Library Association's Bill of
Okay.
Rights and the Freedom to Read statement as the basis for the selection of library materials. That
It works?
That works.
Yeah, yeah, so put it after she
In the
just
Reading,
looks
it
at-
says the Board of Trustees of the Reading Public Library endorses the library goal.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's add that whole sentence, but I think that what Loretta's saying works just as well.
Well,
I think-
Erin, that was Erin's word.
Yeah,
And
I think it works.
it's important too to put the board recognizes its right and responsibility.
Say again?
like, it's important to put in there, the board recognizes its right and responsibility to provide the freedom.
Yeah, oh,
Materials, like, we,
Right.
we support that because
Yeah,
they're gonna fill out this policy, and they
Mhm.
need to know that.
Yeah.
It's supported.
no, I love it. I think it's a great addition.
So the first, under general principles, the first one now reads, Flint Public Library and the Board of Trustees support both the American Library Association's Bill of Rights and the Freedom to Read Statement as the basis for the selection of library materials, of the library's materials.
Yep, I love it.
Good, very good. Thank you. Is there anything?
And what was the other thing you wanted to add, and where did you want to put it?
No, I think that was it.
That was it?
Yeah, that's.
I need a motion to accept those edits.
There were a couple sentences
I'm
in
sorry,
here.
we were still here.
Yeah, well, I just want to make a comment. There were a couple sentences in here, such as that Loretta and I got to a point where we had spent too many hours doing this and said, let's leave that and let the board decide. And so I'm glad you guys read it.
Is there some way you want us to look again?
I don't remember what those sentences were now.
So I wanted to keep in the second bullet point under goals of material selection. Allison had recommended it be removed.
To contribute to the diversity, inclusivity, and accessibility and scope of the collection.
Where are you?
On the goals and materials, second paragraph of the whole thing,
Okay,
second bullet.
and you wanted,
I believe that the terms diversity, inclusivity, and accessibility are becoming in disuse from what I learned at the library conference. That is not that's a trend that is kind of waning, and they're finding other ways to say it. So I recommended to Loretta that we don't need to add that sentence in. She felt, and correct me if I'm misspeaking, the scope of the collection was a critical piece to put in here.
I think all of them are critical, and that's why.
I
wanted to keep them in.
personally believe
Yeah.
that you need to keep this statement.
So that's why we wanted to bring it to
Yeah.
you guys to see
Yeah.
whether you agreed.
But that was in there before, right? Did this,
No, that's a new sentence that we added.
that to contribute to, that's that
That's
last
a new
bullet?
sentence that we added, yeah.
I like it.
Okay. And that's why we wanted to make sure we brought it to your attention.
So it was in there already, it read slightly different.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it originally said to contribute to the diversity, inclusion, accessibility, and scope. I just made it read,
Diversity, inclusivity, do you want to put back to diversion, to inclusion?
No, it doesn't read correctly then. It reads
Okay.
correctly the way it is now.
Yeah, I don't mind.
It's just really just the words a little bit.
All right, is there anything else? All right. So,
I did the motion. I did make a motion.
you do it
So
again,
you
please.
want to make another
I
motion?
do want you
Yeah,
to make
no
do
problem.
it, please.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the edits as put forth for policy 14, collection development policy.
And then to accept the policy with your
As-
amendments.
I said with the edits, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Somebody want a second?
I'll second it.
All those in
I-
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Awesome, very nice, very well done, and that was a lot of work. It's really appreciate it. All right,
A lot of red and green and pink and purple.
yes, there was a lot of time spent.
so we're moving on, we're gonna do the emails from the residents of the trustees and also including the request for program reconsideration.
Mhm.
First, we'll do the email. The email that we received was from Dean DiOrio. And, I don't know if you all read it, but I guess, let me read it out loud so everybody hears it. I don't know. I don't think I need to read the whole thing, but she made a lot of good points about all the, things that were being done at some of the other, whatever libraries she's been at before. And didn't know if anybody had any comments or feelings about it.
I appreciate it very much. And I think she's right on a lot of stuff, and of course, we do a lot of what she recommends. The one thing I wanted to ask Loretta about, which she brought up in the grant, under grants at the last page, there's a grant put out by the Cummins Properties. Do we know anything about
They
this?
do a lot of things.
Yes, so we actually just talked about it in the Friends group, as a, you know, it has been an opportunity that we sought. There were hoops that we had to, or there were hurdles we had to, and couldn't clear, and we didn't qualify.
Oh, really?
Can you talk a little bit more about that and?
I'm happy to.
Looked into it.
They just have restrictions and they want their funds spent and allocated to certain things that unfortunately, because of our size of our town and the diversity primarily of our town, we didn't qualify. But it's certainly on our radar, we certainly are aware they do give a substantial amount of money away for things. But unfortunately, we just didn't meet the requirements.
Can you explain what you mean by diversity in this situation? That we didn't really do to diversity? I mean, it seems like the opposite, we should need to do diversity.
The town demographic.
Is the
didn't
lack of
meet.
diversity?
So the town demographics don't meet their guidelines.
Correct.
Wow. Wow. Thank you.
I like that she said like a welcoming thing.
The welcoming program, you know, and we do have that, don't we? Yeah.
No, I mean, like if we just posted something at our library, like if we posted like that.
So I, like, you know, as Allison said, there are a lot of great points, but many of them we are already doing. So, and yes, I you know, appreciate Jean taking the time out to send us the email and watch the recording.
Anybody have anything else that they'd like to comment about?
All right, so I will reply to her and thank her again.
Can you explain to me why she didn't get a response for like 3 months? What was it that happened? I mean, that was not.
So
something-
she and I had gone back and forth and she had informed me that her email was not working. So when we switched emails, they were going through. But also too, that was in a period where we had extended a job offer to a candidate and we're waiting to hear. And then, unfortunately, that candidate sort of ghosted us, for lack of a better word.
Right,
So I didn't want to notify the runners up until we had a confirmation and the person on starting the onboarding to know that we were.
sure, maybe when you write to her, explain that to her, because you're so responsive, that's why I was surprised when she wrote this, because I know that's not something you would do. So, anyway.
It'd be nice to address since she brought it up.
Right, you never know.
And so-
It's liable to want to work here in the future,
Right.
you know,
But we can all think it's a good idea.
it is.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to requests for program reconsideration. You know what, I failed to print out no, I got that. What I don't have is I thought there was an email that went along with this.
No, that's right.
There was, it's an email attachment and then the reconsideration form was separate from it.
Right, attached below is the appeal form to try and reinstate the Boston Book Club program that was canceled by the director. Please let us know if you need anything else from us. Okay, and I'm presuming that. Hi.
Sabrina.
Hi, Sabrina.
Nice
Right.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you. It looks like a very nice group that you have.
Thank
It's
you,
A lot of
thank you.
people.
Thank you for coming and being here.
Of course, I wouldn't be doing the club justice if I didn't have an in-person presence.
So, I think we need to explain a little first of all that actually, this wasn't actually a program. That you were actually renting meeting space and coming in once. Would you like to explain that then?
I would disagree with that statement.
Okay.
in that.
Can you tell us why? I know. who you
You're
are.
also the boss. Oh,
I'm Adrian, I'm the adult services programmer.
Oh, that's
at the
Adrian.
Library. Nice to meet you.
hi,
all.
Adrian.
So as the adult programmer, there was discussion about extending an offer to two book clubs, including the Copenhagen Book Club, in addition to Sabrina's group, because they did start as meetings, that's correct, because they didn't know they could be programs. So I extended the offer because I believe they would be a great fit for our community. And Sabrina and I worked together for 2 weeks quite diligently to change parts of her club to better fit our time schedules, figure out how we can reach the most people and promote this in our community. And it was only after working together to really build this club that this was, yes, it started as a meeting, but then as the adult programmer, I worked with someone to make it a program. And that is more or less why I think there might be some confusion here.
So it is considered a program or?
Well, it was a contested topic because it started as a meeting, and how we are defining programmer, it seems to be, well, one person can say something in a program, but how are we deciding what is a program, and what isn't? If I, as the adult programmer, work with someone for 2 weeks to make something a program, is it not a program?
Yes,
So I think that's the question here.
it is a program, I think.
Okay, well, let's go, Loretta, do you have some feelings?
Yeah, so,
on this too?
it was a change in procedure that, or not a change in procedure, it was a change in services that we were offering. We do not, Adrian and I have kind of already had this conversation, but as a library, we do not switch meetings from meetings to programs. Just because, anyone can use our meeting space, and Book Talk is more than welcome to continue to use our meeting space. But we are not in the practice of switching a public meeting to a library program. If we do for one, we have to do for all, and if, Book Talk, luckily they are in alignment with our mission, and we can certainly offer a Flint Book Talk group, that's not a problem. But it's the fact that not every meeting that is held here would be in alignment with our mission. So there would be meetings that we would, meetings that would be requested of us to be switched to a program that we would have to then deny. But if we do for one, we do for all, and that's a potential violation for a First Amendment.
Can you explain to me, so what does it take, Adrian, you can chime in here, to change a meeting to a program? What does that involve? Because a program has to be open to all the residents of Middleton.
Correct.
Just like a meeting does, because
Yes.
of our publicness.
Right.
Okay.
So programs we endorse. So we market, which we don't for our meetings. They go on our calendar, of course, but they don't go into our newsletters. They don't go onto our electronic sign. They don't go onto our social media, anything like that. So, so there is a bit.
Newsletter, so it's kind of their social.
I'm sorry,
They go on the newsletter, which is kind of social media, isn't it?
programs,
Like Facebook.
programs do, not meetings.
The meetings are on your newsletter?
No, well, trustees and friends meetings are. Because those are library operations and services, library, no, not public meetings. No, those are on our event calendar,
Maybe that's what I'm saying.
yeah, but not in our newsletter.
May I see, Madam Chair?
Yes, please.
Loretta, I'm afraid that I have to disagree with that, as that has not been our practice. We have, in the past year, converted group meetings into adult programs, and this is in writing. Because they were believed to be a benefit for the community, and this has been done within the past year and to other adults in similar situations, at least 2 other groups besides the one that I'm referencing. And also what you're speaking about has never been a practice that I'm not sure I understand the logic of changing this precedent and suddenly saying, well, why would we have to offer that to everyone? Because aren't we the librarians who decide what might be a program? I don't see the connection here.
So we do, we have control over the programs and the meetings that we host here, to an extent.
Control in
Um,
what sense?
Programming,
But
like, so.
Like,
not
so
much
if this
meetings, no,
becomes
right,
a
anyone can book
program,
a meeting, anyone can book a meeting.
but if this becomes a
Um,
program, what
Again, with
control
certain,
do you?
they have to meet our meeting room policy, and then they can use our meeting space, but
Sure.
But wouldn't you then have control over their program if they do become a program? That's what I've been confused about.
Yeah.
Like you
If
do.
they become a program, and wouldn't they have to meet what we expect for programs?
Not
And
necessarily, no.
why
because-
not?
well,
Why
so
would we have a
unless
program
we-
that we don't want? I mean, that doesn't
Correct,
make
that's,
sense.
that's where we kind of lose that,
Is
that
Tai Chi
governing.
a program that you have, Tai Chi? It's a
Yes.
program, so
Yes,
you don't control what the Tai Chi group does and movements.
right, that's partnered with
If I
the
could be
COA. So that was a program that they had started and reached out to us.
Right,
And we kind of collaborated on making it a program here because we had more space.
but what, to the point of what Dawn is making, you don't, you said it's, do we have control over the program? Tai Chi just came to mind. You don't tell them what to do during that segment. And
Yes, and-
movements to make.
Yes and no.
You tell them their movements? and all
No,
that?
so the instructor has been certified to teach the program.
Okay, but that doesn't mean they keep to it. I mean, see, I'm just trying
So,
to come
well,
up with an analogy.
and again,
of what
that
we're
is-
saying here.
So they're, like I said, they're sort of vetted by the COA to make sure that they're running a program
Mhm.
that.
And that he has
is
insurance and that he's,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
yeah.
And he's.
Can I get what you were about to say?
Yeah, so sorry. I just wanted to make a point to say that, I do agree that any type of program should coincide with the policies of the library. That's why I worked so diligently with Adrian to make sure that my book club coincided with all the policies. So we made tons of changes, scheduling, policies. We have over 300 members right now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we have over 300 members, and it was already, you know, I work with Adrian, it was already presented, I already told all my members, okay, these are the changes that are gonna take place in order for us to become a program of the Middleton Library. Everyone was super excited. And so all of our members also then adjusted their expectations, in order to be
Okay.
part of this community. You know, I had no idea that we could even become a library program when I first reached out. It wasn't until Adrian took the point very nicely to let me know that that was an option. And then I said, of course, let's make this happen. If someone didn't reach out to me and let me know that was an option, then I would be renting spaces here, there, everywhere, and it would have made it so much more difficult.
Okay, so that's what so you originally booked a meeting room because you wanted a space.
Because I wanted to, correct, I had no
And then
idea.
you
Yep.
saw it was a book because you managed the calendar.
I do not manage the calendar, but I did see that they were, they did have a meeting room booked, and I was looking out and planning for the future, and I thought, oh, you're gonna keep meeting here, let's work together.
Okay, and it was a book.
Yep, we're a book club. Our focus is on trying to be as inclusive as possible. So we not only have in-person members that come to physical meetings, we also offer a Zoom option for people that have disabilities or, you know, can't leave their home. And we do utilize both aspects of that. We also have what's called like a silent book member that just follows along via like social media or our Facebook group. Anybody is welcome to join the club. On Facebook, it is a quote private group, just because I'm trying to avoid spam accounts and such like that, but everybody gets accepted as long as they answer like the questions of, you know, what town they're from, et cetera. And obviously, anyone who wants to attend the meeting in person here at the library, 100% welcome. They would just essentially do like a little sign-in sheet so you can keep track of how many people we have coming in person. But I just wanted to make a point to say how grateful I was, because I had no idea that was even an option, and I was so excited to be able to expand our influence to even more members and offer that to the community in Middleton. My co-founder Teresa couldn't be here tonight, but she lives actually 5 minutes down the street, and when we found out it was an option to kind of, you know, partner with the program, we were so excited. 'Cause
She lives in Middleton.
she lives in Middleton, yeah, so we're co-founders. She has a very hectic work schedule, but she did say that she is more than happy to jump on a phone call if need be, if that
So-
way.
Well, I
I'm
wanted
sorry to
to-
interrupt, but I'd like to find out, when you have when you've had your meeting here, who's showing up and how many people is it, and where are they from?
So our target age group is between probably like 18 to 30. That being said, but that being said, we do have members that are above that age group as well. We don't discriminate. And we also really like to practice democracy in our group, so we're a little different. So some book clubs, you know, they just have like, okay, they pick one book per month and that's it. We want to make sure that everybody has a say all the time. So every month, we vote on the book genre, and then everybody will submit a suggestion for the book. And then at the end, we will vote on the book for that next coming month. And that actually took a while, because I already had a timeline in place, and then working with Adrian, it kind of took a little bit to figure out, okay, I know that you guys have like a 15th of the month deadline for newsletters. So it took a little bit of a finagling, to figure out, because I want to make sure everyone had time to vote. So yeah, so we vote on everything, so everybody has to say, so it's no like, you know, it's a majority all the time.
I think it's commendable that, I mean, the fact that you, to me, you're bringing it to our library, because that just, our goal is to make people know about our great library, and I think it's incredible to bring a program with potential 300 people that are interested and can, you know, maybe live in the area, and then instead of just only coming to that session, they come in and use the library and the facilities and other programs. That enhances and makes Loretta's job even more important and the staff's job more important.
That's actually a very good.
Oh, no, again, it's not the type of program that it is. I would love to have
Well, it's a
like
book
book
talk.
talk. Yeah, book talk here. Absolutely. Like I said, it is in alignment with our mission.
No
It's the order of steps that happened, that occurred, that are against in-house procedures, which again, Adrian's new. Adrian's been here a year, and you know, we're still going through some of the learning curve.
I
but-
just don't wanna see process.
Yeah.
I don't wanna see process and procedure diminish our opportunities, and Adrian, I
Right.
commend you on recognizing and thinking outside the box. You know, a really nice
Absolutely.
program for us, and I was disappointed to see that they had been told no for procedural,
Right.
thank you, for procedural reasons rather
Red
than,
tape.
right,
So-
rather than
right, so-
consideration of what they're bringing to us.
Could I offer something to this as well, if it's helpful?
Yeah,
So,
please.
first and foremost, Sabrina, thank you for visiting today, and I appreciate your zeal and enthusiasm for literature. That said, I do share concerns, outlined by Loretta in terms of setting precedent here. And I think, I mean, we run into these things all the time, especially for departments that are kind of on the fringe sometimes, unfortunately, of potential culture issues. And I think my concern personally as an organization is setting a precedent where you're setting yourself up for criticism in the future by allowing one group, but then not allowing another. And you know, I echo the concerns there.
Even if,
But,
so-
excuse me, I want to hear what you were gonna say, because it seems like you were
Yeah,
gonna jump in.
so I think that you'd have to follow
Right, the guys,
procedure, the guidelines, so.
the mission per se of.
So how do you do that now?
Right,
We don't, if we turn around and we decline, Sabrina, sorry if we don't. How can we make it happen so she can then become a program?
Absolutely. So if we went about it as a way to have it as a program,
Right.
we initiated the conversation outside of the meetings. So that's, you know, this is kind of what I had sort of said to Adrian, is the order was a little bit mixed up.
So let's.
So-
how do we
but-
reorder?
So, right, so,
again, it's just.
yeah,
Right.
that's my
Let her-
question,
let her-
Donna.
let her finish.
Yeah, that's my question.
so like I
exactly
said,
what
if
Donna
we
said.
wanted to establish a Flint book talk group, we could absolutely do that. I would be in support of that. What I am advising against is the switching of a meeting to a program.
Are you conducive to that? To becoming a Flint book talk group?
But then that's not right.
So my only concern with that is if you're taking away some of the inclusivity of our club, because you're making it specifically just almost like for Middleton residents. and
No,
No.
never do that.
Oh, but I understand the purpose behind it, but, you know, visually, with Boston Book Talk, because when we had members driving, like, I think one of our last meetings was like 45 minutes just to come to our club. If people just think it's just for this library, which we would have our meetings still here, it's gonna get confusing for members, because
Can we rename it something like the Boston Book Talk at the Flint?
It doesn't
I
matter,
think
I
it
agree with
does.
it doesn't matter.
I just think if. And it's not like a program that's completely not aligned with the library itself. And I get it, the meeting turned into a program, but I still think like, you know, like Republican committee meets here, all that, like committees, they all, people meet here. But if I wanted to make, like, for example, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, if I wanted to make that a program, I would say, no, that's the Girl Scouts.
Mhm.
That you can't make that a program, it's not endorsed by the library, we don't put that on the meeting. But this is something that would benefit the library, and 18 to 30-year-olds, I think that's wonderful, and I think getting them in the door
Mhm.
about books. And if to come from the consideration of the board, I think that it's appropriate, and I wouldn't, no.
I think it's appropriate, but I think we need to do this the right way. I would love to see that, it isn't though, it sets a precedent.
Correct.
So-
Yeah, that's one thing, because Adrian did bring something up, and I'm leaning on that, but you said, Adrian, that this wasn't there were other, what were the other programs that you mentioned that had been done this?
The Needle Crafters Club and the music groups, so Ukulele Fusion and Northeast Folk Sections.
So those
So
three.
Northeast Folk Session, if I can speak to those two, Northeast Folk Session was grandfathered in, that was set by my predecessor as a program.
And hasn't created a problem with creating a precedent?
What was it, which program were you saying? I didn't hear you. clearly.
So
The
the
music.
folk sessions, folk sessions on Sundays.
Oh, okay.
That was switched from, they reached out to us to use our space as a meeting.
Mhm.
And then talked with the director about switching it to a program, and she agreed.
And then what was the other two?
The other one was the Needle Crafters
There
Club.
was one other, third one you
The
mentioned.
Ukulele Fusion and the folk group are run by the same.
The same.
Program, so.
One is solely for ukulele and one is,
Mm.
folk instruments.
Okay, that's run by the same group.
Yes, yes.
To Justin's point, the fear of setting a precedent, this has happened and no.
Under former directorship.
Well, but
She,
still.
but again, she was the one that said, yes.
But
we
nothing-
can-
No, but what I'm saying is regardless of that,
No.
a precedent did not get suddenly created where we now have to say yes to everybody.
We will now that it's been
Right.
out there on the meeting notes.
Right.
Well,
It's not-
it's been a public meeting and it's
It's not-
always been.
If
It's not a
it's-
practice I've done.
If it's not your official position, so I can give you a parallel example, it's the flag flying policy in town, which is something we ran into a few months ago. And I think people sometimes get hung up, right, by example, as an analogy, if they say, well, I'm in support of that group, I'm in support of that flag, I see no harm in doing that. The issue is that you have to support it across the board. And so if there's somebody that comes, if it was by example, a book group who had, a privately run book group that had ideals that didn't necessarily align with the library. By authorizing this type of action as proposed, you're putting yourself legally in a position where you cannot deny that group.
You can deny private because it has to be open to the public.
What I mean is a private group coming in to host a public
Oh, I thought
event.
you meant
Yeah,
that's
no, no, it's
private.
an important
It's
distinction,
private,
no, it's
yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
So, you're legally setting yourself up for a situation where that group can sue you and then say, well, you allowed this group, why aren't you allowing us? And that's where it gets.
But it
into
hasn't
the-
happened so far, no music
but
groups have
that's-
come and
But we
said
know-
that.
Yes, but you
Right.
don't want to
But
put
that's,
yourself.
just
out
to say it hasn't, doesn't mean
No,
it
I
doesn't.
think we're a public library, so I want everything to do with books.
Absolutely.
Right,
So
Go ahead.
there's
So-
gotta be a way to rename this to make it.
well, I think
Or
that's,
create a partnership.
if you de-affiliate it and it needs to be on the library side in terms of.
Well, let's
control
let
of the
Sabrina
program.
explain.
I understand your concerns. My only point was, I didn't know, so it's disappointing for me, my members, to know, just because I wanted to take the opportunity to have our meeting here once, just to, have like a meeting place. And then I found out there was an opportunity to be a program, but that's the reason why, we might not be able to be part of the library community.
Well, I don't think there's any,
But by saying yes to the program, we did take that time to change lots of aspects of our club, our policies, our procedures to then coincide with the program. It's not like, I just talked to Adrian and she's like, all right, let's make this program, and then we just did it. I changed so much of my.
so that's a good point, because as you're saying, we could turn someone else down unless they were willing to make all these changes to meet the library's guidelines. We would have-
For
yeah.
clarification, does your organization exist independent of these meetings here?
No.
Do you hold them in any other place?
It was, that's why when I talked to Adrian, once I found out it was a possibility, we were then committed to just having everything here.
Do you have any intent to expand in the future?
No, unless our members become friends and they want to get coffee outside the club, but no, we were gonna be exclusive to here.
Do you have any type of like governing board?
No, so it's just me and my co-founder, but if that's something that needs to happen, we could definitely change that. But like I said, we were willing to make changes and we did.
Mhm.
It was a great opportunity. I just,
Where did you meet prior to here?
we had our first meeting here.
Okay.
So that makes me feel even better about allowing it. As a program, I mean, it's,
And when did you, when did you start this, oh my God, 300 people?
We actually, we started in January. I created a Facebook group, and overnight we had 150 members. I posted it across, there's like a couple different Facebook groups, like North Shore, girls, it's people like young kids. And then from there, people just got word of mouth, and it grew from there. And then originally I wanted to just meet at like a coffee shop or a brewery, something very simple, but we got so many members, it was becoming a little bit of a space issue.
It's a fabulous age group to bring, as you were saying.
And even at one of our previous meetings, it was funny, because we were talking about how, we got here, and like 3 of us, our partners or our boyfriends, dropped us off, and I'm like, oh, where are they? They're like, oh, they're upstairs. So all the significant others were upstairs,
Using
going
the
around the
library, too.
library, checking out books.
Oh, that's our mission,
Yeah.
totally,
Yeah,
yeah.
and not even that, but all my members were so grateful to, because a lot of them didn't know about Libby and that whole online aspect. And I think we got so many emails from my members asking for help on how to access books, and that was a huge thing too, because we were independently trying to get books,
And
that
Adrian
was-
helped with all of that?
oh my goodness, yes, yes.
I didn't know Adrian. so don't-
Okay, let's-
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah.
How do we go about doing this to make it happen and do it in the right way?
Do we need Adrian, and, do we need Sabrina to resubmit as a program?
Well, I think Loretta is saying she doesn't want it as a program.
No, that's not what
No,
Oh,
she's
no,
not saying that.
Because I
She's
thought she
not,
was saying
no,
that.
she is.
No, so like I said, I would love to partner with Book Talk and create, but we have to somehow break it was a meeting first. So it sort of has to, almost like we have to start fresh. I know that you were here for a meeting. It was an initial meeting. I know that. And I know you've made changes to your group, and I appreciate that. I like, like Justin said, I love your enthusiasm for this, and I would love to make it work. So if we can find a way to sort of almost like rebrand it in a way to have it be a fresh partnership for it going forward. So,
About Donna's suggestion.
But-
How about Boston Book Talk at the point?
I love it.
I mean, that makes it ours and
Yeah.
theirs.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think it demonstrates a clean break between the organizations.
Mhm.
And I know in these instances, it seems like we're being hyper vigilant, but it like really
In
can lead to
today's-
big headaches.
Yes.
down
I
the
think
road.
you have to have Sabrina about this to.
I mean, how would you feel about it?
So, I mean, I'm fine with that, but the only thing is that that's how it's already being presented. So it's Boston Book Talk, and the location is the Flint. That's been the case from day one.
so if we can change the name to Boston Book Talk at the Flint, it would be like like Justin said, like a clean break and starting fresh as Book Talk at the Flint.
So we can basically say, I'm sorry, we can't change your program to a library. And then you come back at us and you say, well, can Boston Book Talk at the Flint become a program? And then we can
And then we
say,
can-
yes, you meet all our qualifications. Sure,
can
you
But
can.
you have control over what their books and what they check Loretta?
No,
No,
that's
no,
dictated by
no.
TikTok.
No,
That's,
Well,
no.
that's a valid question.
No,
Yeah.
My only concern with the renaming completely of it is just because since we do have that online, opportunity for Zoom members and sign-up members, it's gonna make it seem like it's only an in-person book club.
Oh, no.
So that's I know that's not the intent, but that's gonna be
Gotcha.
the optics of it, and I don't want to have anyone be deterred from joining the group thinking it's only at.
Maybe instead of at, make it with Flint Library.
Oh, with it.
Oh, Yeah,
That would
or,
work.
Because,
That would mean it's all inclusive,
yeah,
Yeah.
it's with and not at necessarily.
right?
Mhm.
That would be,
Is that
would you,
So, well, the way that I originally presented to the group, it was Boston Book Talk, and I'm like, at like X, which means with the public library, so it was almost like a collaborative like name, so that's how I presented it to my members.
So
So
you basically have already done that, you
that,
started.
that's kind of what I'm trying to say.
Or you can come back at us and say, I'd like to do a program, Boston Book Talk with
With.
Flint.
Yeah, that's how I did it.
So what did she have to do, Loretta or Adrian? I don't know.
Okay.
So, yeah, so if you reach out to me, CCing Adrian, because Adrian's already kind of in the loop on this one. You know, with the request to, and whatever name, you know, is agreed upon by the board and by you. Boston Book Talk with the Flint, I think was the
Mhm.
agreed
Yeah.
upon.
Would it be, right now it's like Boston Book Talk X, which is like the symbol for with the Flint Library, would that be acceptable?
Is that the name of the group right now?
Yeah, so it's right now, we're holding on Facebook, so if you go to Facebook, and I actually put in the group link to in the emails, but yes, I believe so. So I think you have to be, join the group, but we have all of our events posted and it's always Boston Book Talk.
So is the Facebook page not public, it's private?
Yeah, in order to avoid, spam and privacy
She mentioned that
concerns.
before.
Yeah.
But everybody is allowed to join the group. You
It's awfully
have to
pretty.
Request it, and.
What
then
about
I
those
accept
not
it.
on Facebook?
What do you mean?
If someone's not on Facebook?
That was the purpose of then partnering with the library, in order to allow people even more inclusivity for people that weren't on the internet.
So they can still view it, they could still view like the schedule of
Yeah.
like meetings and
Mhm.
everything, even though it's set to.
Yeah,
private.
yes, you did explain that, Sabrina,
Yeah.
yes.
I do have like a Google website, that I was almost finished doing, just in case someone was on Facebook. The reason why the group is private is because we do have for our online members, online group discussions. So anything that we talk about during the group, then gets posted on there, and they, you can do chatting and stuff like that. That's
But if
why.
I sent you an email and said, hey, I want to be part of this, the answer is,
Absolutely.
you live in Middleton, your name is Allison, yes.
Yeah, and it's, as long, there's 3 questions for people to fill out, it's
Okay.
just, what type of member do they wanna do? Are they gonna be mostly in person, virtual and in person, or a silent member?
Okay.
Then their town, and then if they agree to the group rules. And within the group rules, they also have to agree to the Flint Public Library policies and procedures. Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Is this is kind of silly, but is the book talk like the TikTok thing?
So it was play on words,
Okay.
and that's actually, I got the idea from that whole book club community.
Okay.
Because the online presence for book clubs is, I mean, just for books is insane. And when I really started getting more into books, my friends and I were trying to find a book club that would be, kind of less pressure, just, and we wanted to be free books that we were all interested in, and a lot of the other book clubs were, just genres or books we didn't really want to read. And so we just decided to create our own. And so the book talk almost attracts that type of demographic, that group.
so what do we have to do? Do we need to vote on this,
Make a
and
motion,
make a
make a
motion to accept this?
It's not in the motion, though, she's gotta do the.
We have one.
No.
For the other groups, do they all also have at or with the Flint Public Library in their names?
They usually have Flint in the name of the program.
So, no, not necessarily.
So then why is it necessary for my club to have that name as
That's a
well?
very good question.
Right, because we're trying to break from the group that was meeting here to create the group that will be officially partnered with the Flint Public
But
Library.
for the first meeting that I ever had there, I was already talking with Adrian about creating it into a program.
But it
Right.
already been publicized as not an official, the first meeting was not. an
Correct.
official partnership, so that's why we are looking at rebranding it as basically saying, there was this club, but here's this new club that's.
Right,
this
exactly.
Club, but this is what it's for.
It's really just a technicality
Yeah.
to address what Justin's
Right.
legal concerns
So-
are.
Right, so, exactly. Yes,
Because
said it very
for
well.
legal reasons.
But I think Sabrina's, if she's saying this correctly,
So,
why are you treating her differently than.
I know, I will-
We're not, because
I-
the programs
She's
were
asking the
actual
question. She's asking
programs
the
that,
question, though.
that we
Right, so we
created.
will, and I can go through
And that makes
the details with you,
So I'm
outside
all
of
following procedure, so if I were to resubmit as a program, and, you know, I'm assuming all the, I wouldn't really have to make any changes considering we already.
You've already done that.
All
We've
that.
done it.
So I would have to change the name of my club in
Yep,
order
and-
to coincide, even though other clubs don't have to do that.
Yeah, so just for clarification, those other clubs, because I understand the question that
That's
you're asking,
right.
because you've repeated it 3 times. So the other clubs, started off as actual programming in the library. Yours was
That
a
we
private
created.
group that had private meetings, that are now shifting over to a program, and that's the reason. So the reason that we, have been deliberating for the past 20 minutes was to strike a compromise. So that's the answer to the question.
And I understand that, I just, it's a little disappointing, just from, I mean, I guess on my side, that just because I didn't know that it was even a possibility to create a library group, I don't know, I mean, I didn't see
You
anywhere on the
know,
website that was
that's a
advertised.
learning curve and a growth for you, which is a good thing now.
Even on the library side, even on the website, I didn't really see any spot to really say like, just like any type of clear line, like if you request a meeting space, you're not able to become a program in the future.
Well, we don't even consider that, we don't even
Right.
think. about
Normally,
it. It's
tradition-
not normal.
right, it's not a
It's
normal.
to do that. If
Normally
you're- If you're
we're,
a club and you wanna be a program, you would come in and ask to be put in as a program.
The need of work is.
How does someone know?
so,
With what Sabrina's saying, the programmers are aware of this problem with the way our system works, because clubs like Sabrina's are blocked out from, because frankly, the public doesn't know that they can come in and be a partner. That's not public anywhere. I wouldn't know that if I didn't work here. The programmers who work at this library have been in the process of creating forms to put on our website to allow people to submit and say, hey, you want to be a program in our library? Here's, you can submit a form and we will consider it. This is in the review process of management right now. It has been in the works for a few months. So we do see that there is this blind spot right now and we are working to fix it.
Well, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I love to hear that staff is working on it. And oh, by the way, Sabrina, thank you for being our test project.
No problem.
I'm sorry that you were.
Yeah,
No, it's okay, because if there was a form like that, I would have just initially. filled
That's
that
right.
out. I just
and
don't
we're
wanna lose some of
obviously
our-
Adrian and Loretta are telling us that they're working on that.
Yeah, and I just don't wanna lose some of our individuality, and so many of our members have already, created little like.
We want them all.
logos and stuff, and it's gonna just create a lot of confusion with our members, considering we already kind of presented that we were already.
So I guess, Donna, we do need to make a motion. I guess you're right. We do. Okay, I'll make a motion. Okay, she looks at me like so. So yeah, I make a motion that as we have discussed here tonight with Loretta's concerns over our policies and procedures, that we are willing to accept a proposal from Boston Book Talk with Flint to become a program here at Flint Library.
But what form did she fill out? The form doesn't exist.
it will
work
be,
with
it will
Loretta.
be with email, right? It
Yeah,
will be,
okay.
initiate the discussion, be with- because there are,
It has.
Yeah, but I said work with
Brand
Loretta.
new first time that you've ever doing this.
So I have
So
to
nor-
change the name in order to become a program.
well, there's additional steps you and I will have to talk about, to get you cleared to be a program here at the Flint.
Can you suggest what they might think?
And you can decide at that.
And
time.
then-
Yeah, I'll do a vote with all of our
Right.
members to see if that's something that they are on board with doing. So there is a possibility that our members will not want to change the name, and that then no longer.
Get out of there.
That's,
Well, then if-
we would be heartbroken. if we loved them,
I would be too, I would.
But, and make them realize
I think
that.
we're gonna work with you.
But
I
can
think Loretta's
ask
going to
Loretta,
work with
because
you.
just threw a little monkey wrench in there for me, when you just said, first we're saying fill a form and you're all kind of all set.
Well, no,
after,
those-
but you just said that she'd have to go through a few more hoops. What hoops are you talking about?
No, so like if you're, to get to the specifics.
Yes.
There are background checks. You have to have a background check
Who
to
has
be
all
a
the
regular.
members?
No, the organizers.
That'd
The
be
organizers.
But just like the teachers. It's just like the Larry had. to go
Wait a
through
minute,
that.
the needlepoint ladies, you don't have them go through a
Yeah,
back, all the needlepoint ladies
The one who runs the meeting, yes,
have what, a Cory check?
yes,
Yes, that's with every program.
yes.
we're opening ourselves up to liability. So it's, you know, I do understand your concerns about individuality, but that's what you're giving up when you're becoming part of our organization effectively.
So
I understand that, I just find it disappointing that the other clubs don't have to. have-
No other clubs in the situation you're in.
No.
Yeah, but
And
I
then
know.
all Cory, every
And
single
they
one of
were.
our instructors. were
You
Cory.
can't, you
and
have to get.
I'm
like,
okay doing a background check, of course, it's just disappointing how we have to then give up our.
It's just you,
all,
And
so
Teresa.
let me, because I'm getting a little confused here, and I'm not sure I'm getting exact information. Are all the programs here at the Flint, every single one currently quarried? Every single person that is in charge of that program, every single one is quarried?
Except for like one-off program, if they're only doing like one program here. Like if it's a higher performer and they're doing one program here, they're not Cory checked, they're, you know, they're considered professional. If they're doing repeat programs, they are Cory checked.
And you do have to have someone that's quarried in the room, right?
Yes,
A
Staff.
staff member that's quarried have to be in the room
right,
if they're not quarried, correct?
correct.
If the performer.
If the
is not
performer is not,
quarried,
yes.
you have to have
Yes.
staff.
So they
members.
would have someone,
Right.
be it, if not, yeah.
you can't be an employee, you have to be quarried if you're going to be hired as an employee.
So we have a motion.
So is-
Floor.
We have a motion on the floor.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Did you have a question?
Oh, I just have a question.
Oh,
So. You, do you object with, whatever at the Flint?
With the.
With,
I don't have the, so, since our group is based on democracy and majority votes, I don't have the authority to authorize the
Okay.
change in name. That's something that all of our 300 members are gonna have to agree on. Some who will never be able to set foot in the library may not want their book club that they're a part of to have the Flint name in it, even though the in-person location is the Flint Public Library. Even though that's how we are currently advertising it as Boston Book Talk, and the meetings are always at the Flint Public Library. It's just-
basically broadcast from the.
Exactly, but we have silent members too, again, I don't wanna take away someone's, inclusivity and I wanna be able to accommodate everyone.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else besides that, the quarry, what else? Oh, no.
So it's the only
Okay.
thing is the quarry
All right.
and the name, because you said there were several things, but
The quarry and
that,
name.
just the quarry and the name.
All right.
She
So we
really
have a
asked
motion on the
anything
floor.
Yeah, and I support that motion,
And
and
I seconded it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? It passes.
Congrats.
I hope this. really
Yeah, I hope
works
so
out.
too, I appreciate you guys taking the time to discuss my book club, I really hope it works out.
I do too.
And I really appreciate Adrian doing this work.
Yes.
I do too, thank you.
Takes a lot,
That's a good
and it
point.
takes a lot for Sabrina to be here and the president. Adrian, I commend you for sitting here, because it is a little back and forth with your director, and I appreciate that you're willing to do that and have an open conversation like that and feel, you
Thank
should be able to be heard.
Thank you, everyone. Thank
Appreciate
you.
Adrian.
Thank you.
Thank you
Let's
for being
move
here.
on, please.
Appreciate it.
I think it was important.
Yeah, you have this trustees.
Agreed.
Let's move
Thank you,
on.
I appreciate it, and you're welcome to come to our. We love to have you.
Wow. I'm not 18, you know.
You're not 18 yet?
It's all ages, that's just most of our members.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank
Let's
you.
move on, please.
You don't have to sit here. for the rest of
Let's
it.
move
Are you
on.
sure?
Yeah. Assistant Attorney General's response to the OML complaint, which asked that I read some of this, which, well, I'm not gonna read it all. This office received a complaint from Allison Sloan, member of the Middleton Flint Library Board of Trustees on September 14th, 2023. Alleging that the board and specifically board members Donald Danbury, Aaron Bennett, Susan DePoli violated the open meeting law. GL 38-18.5. The complaint was filed with the board on or about July 7th, and after an extension of time granted by our office, you responded on behalf of the board by letter dated August 9th. The complaint alleges that the three board members improperly deliberated outside of the meeting regarding the election of a chair. Following a review, we do not find that the board violated the open meeting laws as alleged, and then goes on to a lot of other things. Okay, after review of the information provided by Ms. Sloan, we find no evidence that supports an inference that Ms. Banbury, Ms. Bennett, and Ms. Coley delivered outside of a properly posted meeting regarding the election of the chair. Furthermore, the board asserts in its response that Ms. Banbury, Ms. Bennett, and Ms. Coley did not deliberate outside of a meeting regarding the election of the chair. Additionally, Ms. Banbury, Ms. Bennett, and Ms. Coley have each confirmed that they did not communicate with each other either directly or serially through any means, including in writing or verbally regarding the election of a chair. In the absence of sufficient evidence to the contrary, we credit a public body's assertions, therefore we do not find a violation of the open meeting law. We now consider the complaint addressed by this determination to be resolved.
Can I suggest, Donna, that this be attached to our minutes?
I'd love to have it attached, yes, please.
Thank you, and thank you all. I appreciate your patience with me and glad the Attorney General came back and really considered it and decided that we had followed open meeting law.
Okay, let's move on. I think you all have received the process for the director's annual evaluation. Kathy Birmingham sent this out to all of us. We need to have it done May 20th. You should have gotten it. If you don't,
Got it when?
this last week. It just came a week ago or so.
It was late last week.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came from Jackie. Yeah.
I'll forward it to you.
Would you?
Or can you forward
Thank
it?
you.
She'll forward it. Thank you very much.
I'll
So-
go back and look.
Let's as a board this time do a little bit better job. Last time, I think only one person actually got the evaluation in on time, and everybody else was dragging their
Am I
feet.
that person?
It's always everybody,
No, I got it.
Uh,
I got it too.
not on time.
I did.
You did it.
I absolutely did. Okay.
Let's go
Okay.
and say May 20th, and it needs to be there by or before May 20th, okay?
Okay, it is.
Super, oh my goodness, I'm never done.
So the, just if,
That's, sure.
Oh.
yeah, so if I could,
The rest.
final thoughts on that, so the evaluations are due, as Donna said. I will get my self-evaluation to you by Wednesday this week. so
Oh,
that you
yeah, I
have
was
time.
gonna say, we need that, yeah.
And then Jackie Bresnahan will compile the performance evaluations and present that at the June meeting.
So you're supposed to get that to us
Your
before.
self-evaluation. I'll get that to you.
Yours to us before we do ours. Okay, we have to wait for that.
I mean, you don't have to wait, you, I mean, you put it together, but you will have it before yours is due to
I've already
submit.
started.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine too. You don't have to wait for it to get in.
Oh, I thought you meant
I didn't know I got it.
Well, Aaron said she's gonna forward it to you.
Yes, thank you.
And Loretta, you're now up.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. So circulation reports, we're gonna be going through 2 months of reports because we did not meet in April, so we'll be going over March and April circulation reports, budget reports, and program statistics. So does anyone need a hard copy of the circulation reports? Anyone else?
No, thank you very much.
She hasn't.
That one's March.
Did you-
Oh, thank you, everything for you.
Allison, I guess.
Okay, so 2 months.
Oh, both of them.
You're getting both months.
This is Joanna.
Not Joanne.
No, sorry. Start off.
So we're now on 2 sides because we
You
are
ready for bed?
well through the fiscal year. Moving through the fiscal year. So anyone else need hard copies?
You want to watch one more?
Figure
All right, go brush your teeth.
So I just
Drew?
want to briefly talk about
Put
March
that
because we
away.
can look at March on.
Mike, I just wanna let
tables,
you know
But you can see March, the difference year over year, fiscal year over fiscal year.
Pause it. Go
Circulation, we had 2,121 more circs in March FY 24 than we did March FY 23. Likewise, attendance also increased. Attendance in March of FY 24 was 5,350, 50, higher than March of FY 23. So any questions on that before we go kind of a deeper dive in the April? Nope. So looking at April, It's those that have the hard copy, it's the peach colored one. We had a really strong month. Again, you can see March was really high. We had 7,000 and just over 7,000 in April. We're just under 7,000. 7,000 is a really strong number. So I commend my staff for the collections that they're putting together, the way they're creatively displaying them in the programs. They're really promoting the collection and literacy within their programming. But also too, they're taking the time to really perform collection maintenance thoroughly. They're spending a lot of time weeding, getting in the stacks, updating, getting rid of the old and grubbies, replacing them with newer updated materials. And really expanding kind of the offerings that we have, updating and expanding the offerings that we have. So that's why you're seeing, a big part of why you're seeing such a good, strong, healthy circulation number. But also to an increase in our attendance. We're offering programs, more programs that are enticing those in.
Marvelous programs. I was so excited to see the new May
Yeah,
newsletter. I've been telling everybody, I mean, I've been cheering because I was like one after another, and the
Yeah.
Queen programs are coming up and the team. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
so, all that programming is reflected in our attendance. So. Again, you can see the numbers there, but April FY 24 over FY 23, we had 2,497 total circs more in April FY 24. And then attendance FY 24 over FY 23, we have 6,078. So 6,078 more people are utilizing our library. In
Awesome.
April FY 24 over FY 23. So incredibly proud of what my staff has put together for collection and programming.
Yep.
These are good numbers. So we can take a deeper dive into, actually, let's go over the budget report before we move on to the specific program statistics, but does anyone need a copy, hard copy of the?
I count on
budget
it,
report?
Loretta.
I haven't printed, I know you're I have at least one person that's going to need them. If anyone else need a hard copy.
No, got it, thank you.
Okay, so.
Plus, which I like the colors.
So everyone else that would have their budgets pulled up? So we'll start with March, even though we won't go too deep into it, because like I said, the numbers are also reflected on April's budget report for you, but there are real no surprises in March, pretty straightforward. We're spending our budget down. We are staying within many of the budget lines, but we are already overspending in some. But we're making up for it in other lines. So as you can see, the contractual, that is when we put the budget together each year, that's sort of an estimate. We go by what we paid last year. And then we go, we'll add in like 5%, 10%. But it's sort of a guessing game because the contracts that we get for renewal come after our budget is due. So I'm not surprised, it's unfortunate, but if that was one line that we were going to be over on, it would be the contractual at this point in time. Likewise, you can see our MVLC membership came in higher than was expected. This was one of the first years they really went up on their membership, which executive committee is discussing. So it's expected to go up even more, even more significant jump next year. So
They had a great conference.
Yeah.
MLA made good money, but I don't know how that helps MVLC.
MVLC, I don't know. So we'll, that is noted and considered when we put the next budget together, but again, no real surprises in March, but if there's any questions, I'm happy to.
And
answer
there's
them.
no option that you need to be. Is there anything as a member that you can say, this rise is more than 2% or whatever?
So Absolutely. So I do attend the executive meetings. I'm not on the executive committee. But I do, as a director, I can voice, small library concerns or library director concerns. And so I do attend those meetings and, we've sort of been, we've been telling MBLC to up their memberships for a while now, just because, we know costs of everything is going up and while we appreciate the savings, it's caught up to us now.
Okay,
So, it's just something we have to budget for.
okay.
It's a service that we absolutely need. We
Can
heavily
you
rely on.
remind us what services they provide?
So Merrimack Valley, that's our consortium through our interlibrary loans. Do you need one?
The bills.
I was trying to be discreet, but sorry. that's fine.
Okay.
No problem.
So. And moving on to April's, budget report, if there's any questions. We're in the final quarter of the fiscal year, April, May, and June. So we are at the end, the end of our budget life, so to speak. So you can see that we are pretty well on target for our line items. I'm not overly concerned with the balances or the numbers that we're seeing. Michelle and I are working closely to monitor everything to make sure that we're spending it down without going over. And that we are keeping, funds for those program supplies that we need or office supplies that we inevitably will need. So those are the numbers you're seeing now. Are there any questions on that?
It's pretty good.
I should mention too, that we are expecting the second deposit of state aid soon, and as soon as it clears the account, it will be added to the budget report as well. It'll be about $10,000.
Did the money for the tuition, the education things come out?
Did the money for the education stipend? Yes, so that is in the February deductions under state aid.
February, the 6th.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
I actually had a question about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I ask that at this time, or do you want to wait till after the budget, after Loretta's director?
Is it related to the stipend for February?
Yeah.
Do we want to, I can.
Go right ahead.
So I noticed in the minutes, under 5, review educational stipend applications, it says that Ms. Rusin is working towards and she's taking one class for 3 credits with 2,155. And then it says, Ms. Swift Johnson stated that if you take one class, you did not qualify for financial aid. And yet we paid her even though she didn't qualify because she only took one.
Financial aid qualified from the school, not from us.
Oh, from the school.
She's probably working so much. she
Okay.
can't possibly.
So maybe we can add that. Okay, never mind, it's the
No,
minutes.
it's okay.
Okay,
It's all
from
good.
school, I'll leave myself a note then.
Okay.
Okay, thank
She's
you.
eligible for the education stipend.
Then from us,
Being a full-time
but not-
employee, working here over a year.
Okay.
Over a year.
Okay.
And
She'd love to get something else, but she
Sure.
doesn't possibly can work and do
Okay.
that. All right, moving on.
Okay, perfect. So if we can take a look at the program statistics, which is the very colorful sheet of tiny print. So I don't print them out because it does print so small. So the best way to look at it is electronically so that you can enlarge it on your screen. So we'll look at the March program statistics first. And this was the month that we'd actually sort of already talked about one of the days, March 5th. That was the really busy day that we had, the 3 programs that actually were all free, but ended up bringing in really big crowds. So we had our Carol Close program, which was 72 attendees. And then we had our CFCE program, which is always popular, and we had 71 show up for that one. And then we had, which was the other one? Trying to think what the other.
Music.
It was, no,
The river.
it was yes,
Oh, the
thank
ribbon.
you.
Susan's.
program. Yes, no, I'm sorry, no, it wasn't that was a different day. It was the All About Humanity with the
Yes.
Tri-Town, with Tri-Town. And that was a hybrid program, so we had folks come in person in the meeting room, but we also had many attend via Zoom. So we had 111 total participants for that program, and again, it was free, so March was a good month for programs. For many well-attended programs as well. As you can see, we offered a teen movie and munchie night, and that, you know, we saw a lot of teens come in for that. And the library lock-in for tweens and teens, which we had a wonderful time, and we capped it at 25 and we maxed out. So you can see that we had 25 come for that program, and it was a lot of fun.
Everyone loved, like, everyone was so happy with that. Well done by everybody that did that. I loved it.
So we had Ed the Wizard, and we had Pajama Story Time, again, which threw over 20 people, so we had 28 for each. So a lot of popular programs there. But Adrian, do you want to talk about any of the March programs or April programs that you had while you're here? We have the benefit of, I'm sorry, to put you on this, but as you can see, there are quite a few adult programs that Adrian has put together for the Flint.
I think that Loretta also already spoke to the March programs that were a big success, which include Susan's program and Carl Close's program that was from the Historical Society. From April, I would say that notable was our Celebrate Our Indian American Neighbors program, which we got compliments on from the community. And this was where I partnered with someone who actually works on the Board of Health, and he works with a lot of the community, the convenience store vendors who have immigrated here from India. And he wanted with them to bring them into the library and to talk about their homeland and their culture. And we had some fun. We also had some interactive dancing and talking about food, and the turnout on it was very good, and we had a really good time.
I'm gonna say, just to compliment Adrian, because she made my program possible, and I couldn't have done it without the assistance that she did, and
Yeah.
behind, and Loretta for being the person that recorded it and was there to troubleshoot any problems, because I'm certainly not capable, but both Adrian and Loretta made that program happen. Really express appreciation.
You did a great job, too, Susan. You really did.
Wonderful.
And I'd like to commend you for saving the movie game. When I brought my granddaughter and everything crashed, Adrian, everything crashed. There was no movie, nothing, and she somehow took this old equipment that looked like it came from the 1920s and got the movie done, and I don't know how she did it, but she saved it. Thank you.
So Adrian and I had worked together previously, and I have experience working with Adrian, and I know their work ethic, and I know their level of attention to detail and savvy tech skills. So I was very excited when I saw their name.
There you go.
And it's for that exact reason that I fought for them to get here. So again, so many programs in April for adults. So thank you, Adrian. Also for, teens, we've had to cancel a few of them due to lack of registration, but Felicia's still, she's trying new ideas.
Yeah, I think she's doing good.
Absolutely, because we don't know unless we try.
Yep,
So,
yep.
and it's always.
I think
learning,
our
it's
numbers
always
next month are
information.
gonna be really good.
So. Looking at children's programming for April, you can see that for those looking at the digital copy or for those that printed it out at home in color, you can see the ones in red are either all ages or tweens and teens. So, factor that in when you're looking at the age groups and everything. So we had one-up games here, again, which we're hopefully going to have back monthly if the funding works. But that drew in 42 kids, and it was absolutely wonderful to see them collaborating and working together to problem solve and kind of adventure on their own, as a team on these games. It was really cute. really sweet to see. We actually had several of our friends group members really excited about this program being offered at the library, that they came in to see it
Oh,
for
good.
themselves. They said, let me know when it happens
I
next. I
heard-
want to come in and see this. And they did, sure enough, they did. So,
As a staff member, I used to be very excited to get to beta test programs.
absolutely. So, any questions on the programming?
It's been great.
Absolutely.
Noticeably improved, noticeably.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next are some building updates that I have. So as we found out in the beginning of the meeting, as Erin pointed out, the wireless at this end of the building, it does get slight signal, but we're picking it up from the expanded, the addition. So what is making its way all the way down here is very weak. So we're currently using hotspots again, but the wireless access point has been ordered, a new one has been ordered. It's due to be installed as soon as it's delivered. And I want to just extend a heartfelt thank you to the friend for paying for this one, because it was just under $1,200 or just under $1,100 for the replacement of that device. So
Thank you.
they use their
Thank you.
building funds
Thank
for
you,
that,
Ann.
yeah. And deeply appreciative to them for their support. So the broken lighting in the audiobook area has been fixed. You may remember that that model has been discontinued. So it was a little difficult locating a replacement, but my custodian came and said, Loretta, I think the lighting might be the same in the friend's room. So, you know, we went down, we looked at it, took some measurements. It actually is indeed the same lighting that is in the friend's room, which is not public. It's, you know, just kind of our book sale storage room. So I took one of the glass diffusers, they're called, glass diffuser, off of one of the lights in the friend's room, put it up here in the public area, in the reference audiobook area. So what the public sees is all new, all matching. But it leaves one light bare in the friend's room, and there are 3 of them. So I spoke to the friends group at the last meeting last week and suggested that we buy 3 matching new ones, because like I said, the one that we're using is currently discontinued. Replace the 3 and then use the 2 that are currently in there, put them in storage and use them as backup should any of the other ones up here need to be replaced.
So we want to buy the new ones for the friend's room, or do we want to buy the new ones for the audio area?
If we did new ones for the audiobook area, we'd have to buy 9.
Ah,
So we want to only buy 3 and then have 2 as backups.
okay, so it's deferred, a deferred expense at this point.
So the friends graciously said they would pay for them, but then we got the bill in and they ended up being for all 3, just $100 plus shipping. So we will have that, as you can see, in our budget, to pay for that out of building maintenance or possibly equipment, but we're getting a little low on that line. So we'll have the funds to pay for it out of our operating budget. But again, thank you to the friends for being so generous in their support. So hopefully those were ordered. So hopefully they'll be delivered in a few weeks. So updates on staffing, programming, and services. And, you know, as many of you know, or all of you know, I went to the Public Library Association's conference last month. I want to say thank you to MLS for awarding me the $2,500 grant to attend. It was wonderful. I was also able to attend the early bird day of workshops, the Tuesday before the actual conference started. And that was wonderful. I'm glad I did. One of the workshops that I attended that first day was in the driver's seat, proactively protecting your library and staff in challenging times. And it was, you know, I learned several key takeaways on supporting and protecting library, the library building, the library policies, library mission, staff, patrons, all during the challenge. You know, these times the libraries are just seeing, we're just, you know, there's a lot of challenges out there. So, you know, what we're seeing, you know, what we're facing today, there were a lot of great directors in that room that shared their insight. So again, grateful for the opportunity to attend. In March, Fuller Meadows School reached out to several community members and asked them to participate in Read Across America. So Jackie and I went down to Fuller Meadow on March 29th and we read to 2 classrooms. which was absolutely wonderful. The students were great, and I think, I didn't know who was more excited, the librarians or the students. So, it was a blast. I hope they invite us again next year, because I would love to participate. So that was part of our outreach in March. And then outreach in April, we had Earth Day Festival. And so Stacy took the bulk of the hours at the festival. I did help her with the setup and then the breakdown, and a few of the hours that the festival was running, but unfortunately I wasn't able to be there for the full.
Where was it?
At Chinook Park,
Say again?
Chinook Park,
Okay.
off of East Street.
Mhm.
So at the event, we had 189 people visit the Flint Public Library tent, which was wonderful. We bought our beanbag chairs and we had a lot of kiddos hang out there for a while and in the shade, because it was a beautiful sunny warm
Oh, how
day.
nice.
We really lucked out, much better weather than, much better weather than last year's.
Yes.
Yes,
Horizontal rain.
yeah, it was,
Mhm.
last year was pretty uncomfortable. But I'm excited to say that we actually had one of the swag prizes that everyone came for. They all wanted our seated bookmarks, which I have some here, so if you want one, take it, but I'll pass it around. But these, again, were given to us by our generous friends group. They are bookmarks that are printed with herb seeds in the paper. So you actually plant the bookmark and it grows a garden of assorted herbs. There's chamomile, basil, lavender, peppermint. So if you're interested, please do take one and pass it down.
Can I only take one?
You could take two.
Mm.
You could be greedy and take
Take
two,
mine.
because they are
Take
wonderful.
Marie's.
So,
Take that, you have another thing, so you could take.
but yeah, there were several
When you have
attendees.
6 grandkids, it gets to be a problem.
There were several attendees that came.
Does it say,
Because
what-
they've
it
heard.
doesn't say anywhere on it what
We
size
made a-
pot.
No, and it does, as long as it fits in there horizontally, don't plant it vertically, plant it horizontally.
It doesn't say what kind it is.
No, but it said the pot, no, so if you do it horizontal and it
They'll grow.
fits, you'll be okay.
Right,
Okay.
you may, as the plants get bigger, you may have to transplant and move them into their own pots, or you could organize them by herb.
Okay.
But yeah, as long as it fits in the pot horizontally, you can cover it with about a half an inch of soil and keep it watered. It will sprout. Thank you.
Would you like that?
I would take one.
Yeah, pass me
Absolutely,
one.
pass them back down.
Thank you.
So we already talked about the performance evaluation timeline, so I'll skip over that in my director's report. But I do want to talk a bit about the strategic planning and where we are in that process. So as you know, the survey has closed. The results have been compiled. And Greg, the consultant that we're working with, has drafted his assessment of those results. So we have a meeting of the strategic planning committee to be held on Friday, May 31st in the morning. So that we can kind of go over Greg's assessment, go over the results of the survey, and then establish a few goals and objectives to put into the strategic plan. After that, after that meeting, I will review all the input and begin drafting the strategic plan. The draft will then be shared with staff, board of trustees, and the friends, so that we all have a chance to take a look at it, review, provide input, and then hopefully finalize the strategic plan by the end of the summer, fingers crossed. If not, September.
Yay.
How many surveys did you get?
So, great question. So in all, we had 227 respondents.
That's great.
Yeah, so 7% of households responded,
That is
which is
good.
really
That is good,
strong
yeah.
numbers
Yeah.
for a survey of that type. So, thank you to Annie for helping me hand them out at the transfer station. We made a lot of friends those days. It was a lot of fun. It was great. So, that's it for my director's report.
Oh, great, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're ending before 9 o'clock.
We got a lot to cover.
We did.
Next meeting is Monday, June 10th at 7 p.m. So may I have a motion to adjourn? Section second.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And
Good night,
thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you.